Many people and I personally have always been interested in whether mutants exist in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Since the Chernobyl accident, the zone has become overgrown with thousands of legends that frighten with the most incredible stories about terrible zombie mutants living in the vastness of radioactive lands. But is this true? In 1986, on April 26, an explosion occurred in the fourth reactor of a nuclear power plant. A huge amount of radiation was released into the atmosphere. The forest near the station turned red. People from a 30-kilometer zone were evacuated. But animals continued to live in abandoned buildings and forests. Fish in rivers and lakes. Emergency liquidators shot many domestic animals so that they would not carry radiation beyond the boundaries of the exclusion zone. A controversial decision, since domestic animals would hardly be able to walk tens of kilometers and go beyond the radiation zone. But wild animals adapted and still live in this territory. Boars, roe deer, moose, wolves, lynxes, foxes, raccoon dogs, and even bears. How exactly could radiation affect them? In the first years after the accident, some experts claimed and even showed animals that they said had mutated as a result of radiation exposure. The radioactive zone is fraught with many unsolved mysteries and is covered with many myths and legends. For many years, animal mutations in Chernobyl were considered fiction. However, the video that we will watch now indicates the opposite. This video was filmed in the abandoned village of Kopachi in 2021 by workers of the exclusion zone. The place we see in the footage is the road leading from the city of Chernobyl to the reactor of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant itself in the bushes on the side of the road. The men notice a strange creature and stop to take a closer look. In the freeze frame, we see that the creature simultaneously resembles both a dog and a bear, but at the same time has no fur. Unfortunately, the driver was afraid that the animal would attack his car and decided to quickly drive away. Perhaps the animal came out to people to ask for help, or was simply hungry. What are your guesses about what it could be? You can write about this in the comments. And in this video we see giant fish that live literally 100 meters from the reactors of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in the channel of the cooling pond. Locals say they grow up to 3.5 meters in length. These are catfish that live their entire lives in conditions of increased radiation. Such an animal can easily drag a person underwater. Station employees claim that this is a completely normal phenomenon, since no one catches fish here, and that is why it grows to such a size. Nearby there is a building with strange things inside. We see many containers with mummies of radioactively contaminated fish. It was a laboratory for studying the effects of radiation. Unfortunately, most of the research is still classified. Due to lack of funding, this building ceased to function in the late 90s. But it is worth noting that fish in the Chernobyl zone is saturated with harmful radionuclides, and eating it is extremely dangerous and strictly prohibited by law. Mutations of animals in radiation-contaminated areas often occur. Scientists sometimes catch sight of such specimens with an unusual number of paws or even several heads or abnormally growing limbs. But such mutations happen long before radiation accidents or even the discovery of the split atom. Soviet geneticists more than once conducted experiments on animals, irradiating them with different types and doses of radiation. In some cases, the animals did not survive, and in some cases, the animals became mutated or had severe defects in their offspring. In this video, a tourist allegedly captured an animal similar to a moose running across the train tracks of the Yanov station, just a kilometer from the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. The animal looks like a moose, but it seems to have no horns or head. The authenticity of this video is unknown. Scientists are still studying the effect of radiation on animals in the Chernobyl zone. Special camera traps are installed to monitor animals. As a result of the installation of such camera traps, scientists have many photos of animals from Chernobyl. Oh. Do you see what an owl is like? Damn. How can I release it? I am still inclined to rely on data from official sources, and confirmed information on mutations so far only exists for certain plant species in the Red Forest. Milik is a beautiful place, just if it weren't for the dosimeter you would never have thought about it. This is how my beloved and I walk through the radioactive Red Forest. No radiation. 100%. There are a few signs of radiation here. They are already so old, the paint is no longer visible. Still, apparently, from the time of liquidation of the consequences of the accident, well, and the radiation background, respectively. Okay, let's get out of here as quickly as possible. We have already collected 600 microentgens. And 720 is the maximum daily norm for uninfested areas. Now we are following exactly that trail. People who go on excursions pass such a torch. That's what this place is called. This is the turn before Pripyat. The Western Radiation Trail passed there. In the first days after the accident, there were 50 Roentgens there. That level was probably more. Here we practically passed this same place only in the forest, where nothing was washed or cleaned. Now it is already starting to subside. This trail is so quite narrow, now it will already be there. Gradually, well, it may rise a little, but in principle it will subside as we go deeper into the forest. You see the spot on the ground has risen a little again, even more. Well, let me remind you that this measurement is based only on gamma. My lid is closed. That is, there may be just as much beta here. There you can see a piece of the torch. I don't know if it will be on the video. Here's between the supports of the lab.
Это могильник, скорее всего. Могильник, наверное.
Yes, you see there is also a barrel. Well, we found another burial ground right here. It says the object is under protection.
Какой-то могильник прямо здесь стоит. Написано объект под охраной.
Perhaps this is where some of the radioactive trees were buried. But I will talk about this in the next video. And so as not to miss it, be sure to subscribe to my channel. All the most interesting things from Chernobyl are collected here.